see any hands up out there, man. And you sound a little quiet to me. All right, Bearcat fans. Keep it what you're listening. We need everybody up on their feet and cheering, and you cannot sit down until the quarter. The Colonels score their first point. This includes the Upward basketball group, the Junior Bearcat Club, and all the residents, all students out there. So fans and students, stand up, make noise, and get behind the Bearcat defense.
Texas, as the Bearcats lose the tip, they're taking on the Nichols State from Louisiana. Sam Houston comes in the game with a 7-7 Southland Conference record, just one game ahead of Nichols State as we've reached a critical point with just 2 weeks left in the season as Nichols State turns over the ball right there. Nichols State's led in scoring by Fred Hunter. He's number 20. He'll be the guy to keep your eye on tonight as the Bearcats bring the ball up the floor for their first offensive possession. Darius Gatson passes the ball off. That is James Thomas with the ball now. He passes it off to the wing. Looking inside, that is Paul Baxter with the ball. Baxter gives it back to Darius Gatson. Gatson gives it back to James Thomas. Thomas throws it over to Nathaniel Mason, who gives it back to Darius Gatson. Gatson gets a screen, looking to go inside, puts it up, tries to pass it off. The ball goes out of bounds, and that is going to be a turnover on the Bearcats.
Yeah, it was a good decision right there. Nice little try and feed in there by Darius, but unfortunately, defenders were right there waiting for it.
Bringing the ball up now for Nichols State is number 21. That is Shane Rylu. Rylu passes it over to number 22, T.J. Carpenter. Carpenter gives it back to Rylu. Rylu then throws it over to number 1, who gives it right up to the inside post. That's number 22, or excuse me, number 32. That is Jamarcus Horace. Horace tries to put up a shot and gets fouled. And that'll send Horace to the free throw line for the first three free throw attempts of the game. That foul was on number 35, Michael Holyfield.
Number 32, Jamarcus
Yeah, Horace is only shooting 45% from the free throw line this year for the Colonels. He was working on Holyfield down there in the bottom, like you said.
And Horace misses the first attempt, so the game is still scoreless.
And like we were talking about earlier, we need to, I think he needs to get more involved in this game for the Bearcats. He hasn't really been doing too much on the boards or the points this year.
Horace makes that one, and that's going to be the first point of the game as the Colonels go up 1-0. And once again, Darius Gatson is bringing the ball up the floor for the Sam Houston State Bearcats. Gatson guarded closely by number 21, Shane Rylu. Gatson still holding the ball. Passes it down to James Thomas. Thomas is guarded by Fred Hunter. Thomas puts up the shot, hits the backboard, no good. Ball is rebounded by the Colonels, who immediately turn it over, though. That was Thomas who got the loose ball, and Darius Gatson has it, and the Bearcats are setting up a new possession. Ball over on the right wing now, and we are going to have a foul right there. I didn't catch the number. That goes on number 32. Jamarcus Horace. That is Horace's first foul of the game and the first team foul of the half for the Colonels. Bearcats inbounding the ball from the baseline. Ball is inbounded to James Thomas. Thomas passes it to Holyfield. Holyfield gives it up to Gatson. Gatson still guarded by Rylu. Gatson gives the ball to Thomas, who gives it up to number 21, Paul Baxter. And the Bearcats commit the traveling penalty right there, so that's going to be a turnover.
Yeah, Thomas wasn't too careful with his feet on that one. He tried to do a little pump fake. Unfortunately, he left the ground, so they caught him with the travel on that one.
All right, inbounding the ball now for the Colonels. That was number 22, T.J. Carpenter. He inbounded the ball to Shane Rylu. Rylu's guarded by Gatson, and Rylu storms up the court with the ball, gives it over to Hunter. Remember, that's the most dangerous player on the court, averaging over 19 a game coming into tonight's effort. Ball now in the hands of number 22, T.J. Carpenter. Carpenter gives it back to Rylu, and Rylu finds Hunter. Quick pump fake, throws it off. Ball deflected high in the air, caught three-point attempt is up and good for number 1, Dontrell Thomas. Thomas was the leading scorer the first time these two teams met a little over a month ago with 15 points, and that's going to make it 4-0 here in the early goings in favor of Nicholls State. Sam Houston now on offense once again with the ball in the hands of Darius Gatson, who passes it to Thomas. Thomas gives it up to Baxter. Baxter drives inside, puts up the layup, and the Bearcats have their first points of the evening. It's 4-2.
That was a good job of Baxter taking it for the whole hard right there and trying to draw the foul. Unfortunately, didn't draw the foul, but did get the bucket.
All right, Riley now back across center court, guarded very closely by Gatson. He passes the ball off to number 22, TJ Carpenter. Carpenter gives it to number 1, Dontrell Thomas. Thomas gets a screen, tries to go inside, gets cut off. Now looking for a pass. Hunter is guarded very tightly right there, and we might have an offensive foul. We sure do, and then Michael Holyfield blocks him for emphasis. Big play right there. Offensive foul goes against Fred Hunter.
Substitution on the court, number 5.
I'm not too sure about that one right there. That seems a little maybe on the flop side there from Thomas, but hey, we'll take it.
Eamon Torres checks in the game right there for the Colonels. Torres is their sharpshooter, shooting over 39% from the the three-point arc coming into the game. He is guarding Darius Gatson now. Gatson picks up a screen, doesn't try to go inside with it though. Has the ball knocked out of his hands, but is able to pick it back up. Gives the ball over to Baxter. Baxter throws it back over to Gatson. Gatson gives it up, and now it's back in the hands of Paul Baxter. Baxter's calling for a clear out, and now comes a screen from Holyfield. Baxter goes inside, throws it to the corner, too high, and that's going to be another Sam Houston turnover. So about 4 minutes into the game now, Bearcats trailing 4-2, once again hosting Nicholls State, the Colonels. This is a big game in Southland Conference play as the Bearcats are trying to secure a top 4 seed in the Southland Conference tournament to earn a first-round bye. They currently sit 5th, 1 game ahead of Nicholls State, so very important game for both teams right here. And you know Sam Houston wants to pick up the win on their home floor.
Yeah, Sam Houston just needs to go on a run here.
Air ball on the three-point attempt right there. Fred Hunter tried to save it, could not, and that's going to be Bearcat ball again. And we have our first timeout of the evening. So 15:59 remains in the first half. Once again, Colonels leading 4-2. This is about as big a game as you can get for the Bearcats. They only have 2 home games remaining, counting this one. So you really want to pick up these 2 wins. Once again, 4 games remaining in the regular season. Trailing the 4 seed that you're trying to chase down by 1 game. So you really need to pick up as many, if not all of them, as possible. So little rough early going, only got 2 points, 4 minutes in the game, but definitely nothing to worry about yet.
Yeah, not just yet, but unfortunately, this is kind of like starting off like the SFA game did when I watched that one. Both teams started off slow. Nobody could put any points on the board. I mean, both teams in the SFA game, Sam and SFA, were held under 20 points in the first half. So in this one looks to be starting out the same way, little sloppy play. Definitely not what you want to see late in the season as your Bearcats are trying to chase that number 4 seed down and get a good spot, good seeding in the Southland Conference.
And the first time these 2 teams met a little over a month ago in Louisiana at Stoford Gym, the Bearcats raced all the way out to an 18-point lead in the second half before ultimately collapsing down the stretch and losing that game by 3 in overtime. They were led in scoring that night by DeMarcus Gatlin, who has since injured his knee and is out for the season. So you know the Bearcats are really revenge-minded as they play tonight, and we are ready to get back underway as number 20, James Thomas, is inbounding the ball to Darius Gatson. Gatson will bring the ball up court for the Bearcats. Once again, he's being guarded by Eamon Torres, who checked in just a few minutes ago, right before the timeout. Gets the screen from Holyfield, goes inside, kicks it out to Paul Baxter. Baxter fires the 3. No good. Rebound there. The shot goes up. No good. But number 33, Nathaniel Mason, will be heading to the free throw line for the Bearcats' first 2 attempts of the evening.
And unfortunately, this is kind of a sickening stat. He's only shooting 36% from the free throw line, but that's just been the story this year for this Bearcat men's basketball team.
The Colonels are going ahead and making another substitution as number 4, Jeremy Smith, the redshirt junior guard from New Orleans, will be checking into the game. Here comes the first attempt. It is good with a lot of help from the rim and backboard right there. Counts just the same though. Scores now 4-3 in favor of the Colonels.
Jeremy Smith for the Colonels.
So there is Smith checking into the game. He comes in favor of number 32. That was Jamarcus Horace, who committed the first foul of the evening. Here comes the second attempt. And Mason gets a lot of love from the rim on both attempts, and that's going to tie the game up at 4. And now the Bearcats get the trap, but unfortunately commit a kick ball. That was number 20, James Thomas, on the kick ball right there. So the Colonels will retain possession as they were absolutely trapped in the corner right there. Got a bit of a bad break for the Bearcats. They're able to get the ball in cleanly this time. Once again, that is number 1, Dontrell Thomas, bringing the ball up the floor.
Yeah, the Bearcats starting off early with this full court press, putting some pressure on these Colonels to try and make them make that bad decisions.
Thomas was looking inside right there, decided not to throw it to Hunter. And there still looks like they're all determined to try and get the ball into Hunter, but that is not happening just yet. Number 1, Dontrell Thomas, dribbling the ball around now, looking to pass it. He is able to do so to number 22, and then number 5 fires a long shot right as the shot clock was expiring, way beyond NBA three-point range. That is good for 3 as he's able to knock it down, and that's going to make it 7-4. Bearcats now on offense, and we have another foul. That's going to go against number 4. That is Jeremy Smith, the man who just checked into the game. And the Bearcats will be inbounding the ball from the baseline. That's going to be number 21, Paul Baxter, throwing the ball in. He throws it to number 35. That's Michael Holyfield. Holyfield gives it up to Darius Gatson. And the Bearcats will now set up to run a regular play. Ball now in the hands of number 33, Nathaniel Mason. Mason gives it to Holyfield. Holyfield goes for the layup, but travels in the process. And that's going to be another Bearcat turnover. That's at least the 4th. And we're barely 5 minutes into this game.
Yeah, turnovers have been killer for the Bearcats this season, and they're starting it off bad this game.
All right, the Bearcats are making their first substitution of the evening as number 24, Terrence Motley, checks in the game for the first time. Inbounding the ball now for the Colonels, that's number 22, TJ Carpenter. Carpenter gives it to Eamon Torres. Torres is guarded by Darius Gatson. And we have a little shove right there. That's going to be a foul against Gatson. That is Gatson's first of the evening, second team foul on the Bearcats.
And welcome to the court tonight, number 5, Aaron Harwell.
And the Bearcats are making another substitution right here as Aaron Harwell, the 5'11 junior guard from Houston, checks in. Colonel's now setting up. They throw the ball inbounds to Fred Hunter. Hunter looking to do some work. Backs down and is able to put the ball in for his first points of the evening, and that's going to make our score 9-4 Nicholls State. Harwell now bringing the ball up for the Bearcats. He just checked in favor of Darius Gatson, the point guard. He gives the ball up to Thomas. Thomas puts up a shot, banks it in, and that's going to make it 9-6 here in the early going. Once again, Eamon Torres bringing the ball up for the Colonels. He's guarded by Aaron Harwell. He passes it over to number 22. That's TJ Carpenter. Carpenter gives it up to number 4, Jeremy Smith. Smith throws it to Torres. And then we've got a foul on the floor. That one's going to go against number 24. Sorry, I was waiting on the official call right there. That goes against Terrence Motley. Motley's third team, and the Bearcats make another substitution as number 32, Will Bond, checks in for the first time this evening. Colonels now looking to inbound the ball. They do so. Ball once again in the hands of Eamon Torres, the sharpshooting point guard. Torres gets it in the corner, gives it up to Hunter, who is double teamed right there, but a foul is committed, and that might have been a shooting attempt as well. We'll see. Yep, Hunter is going to the line. That foul was also called on number 24, Terrence Motley, so 2 quick fouls for Motley right there as Hunter will be going to the line.
Yeah, and it looks like the Coach Hooten is getting ready to bring back in Michael Holyfield for the Bearcats. I was a little curious as to why he brought him out earlier. Holyfield was doing a pretty good job down there holding Hunter, and they bring in Motley. Now Motley's got 2 quick fouls.
Hunter misses the first attempt right there, and there you see Holyfield checking back in. Hunter still has one more attempt coming. Once again, 13:37 remains in the first half. The score is 9-6 in favor of the visiting Nicholls State Colonels. Here comes Hunter's second attempt. And he misses that one as well. So 0 for 2 from the line as Michael Holyfield grabs the rebound. And you got to like that if you're a Bearcats fan. Anytime you leave points like that at the charity stripe, makes the other team feels pretty good. As number 32 jacks up the 3. That was Will Bond who just checked in the game. He missed it. And we have a foul on the loose ball. That one goes against number That was on number 35, Michael Holyfield, his second. So Holyfield checks in, grabs a rebound, but then commits a foul on the other end.
Yeah, and that's not good. He's got 2 fouls, and Motley's got 2 fouls now. So 2 of our big men who are charged with the case of trying to hold their leading scorer here tonight is already in foul trouble kind of early.
All right, Colonel's trying to set something up. Once again, they look determined to try and get the ball into Hunter. Hunter comes into the game averaging 19.4 points per game. So you can see why that has been their focus, as number 20 laid it in right there for 2 points. That was, excuse me, not number 20, number 22, TJ Carpenter for his first points of the evening. Bearcats almost had a turnover right there. They're able to kick it out, and Harwell is now setting up the offense to run another play. Looking for a screen. Holyfield gives him the screen, but not enough room is created, so Harwell has to set up, throws it over to the wing. It gives it back to Harwell. Harwell once again calls for the ball screen from Holyfield. He throws a pass to the cutting number 32, but it's a turnover, and the Colonels are trying to run the other way with it. That is number 4, Jeremy Smith, who lays it in for 2 points, and that's going to make it 13-6 now. As we have a timeout on the floor, those were Jeremy Smith's first points, and now 12-17 remains in the first half. Colonels have increased their lead to 13-6. Disappointing stretch of basketball right there for the Bearcats.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the Bearcats are clicking on offense right now. Harwell right there with that bad pass. He was just trying to squeeze it in, I guess trying to find something work when he could have just swung the ball back out and maybe set the offense back up again. There was still a little bit of time left on the shot clock, so I wasn't too sure what he was trying to do with that pass.
So the Colonels have opened up their scoring a bit. As I said, they have 13. But the Bearcats, about 8 minutes in, still only have 6 points. This is a problem that the offense has been having lately. They need to score more points. And really what it comes down to is the fact there's not a single Bearcat that is averaging double digits. And so it'll be interesting to see if somebody can take over this game, which is something we haven't seen happen a whole lot so far this season.
Yeah, the Bearcats men team just doesn't really have that 1 or 2 people that like our girls team does with Brittany Martin and Sequina Thomas, so you can just take over a game.
Harwell now setting up on offense for the Bearcats. Holyfield comes up and gives him the screen, goes to the basket, gets cut off, and pulls it back out. And now is looking to throw the ball into Michael Holyfield. Holyfield goes up for the layup, hits the side of the backboard, and Fred Hunter grabs the ball, and the Colonels are running with it the other way. Torres looking to go inside, throws it across the court to Jeremy Smith. Smith then gives it up to Hunter, but we have a traveling. That one goes on Jeremy Smith, so Smith turns it over there. And we have yet another timeout. So about 30 seconds exactly 30 seconds transpired there. So now score still 13-6 with 11:47 remaining in the first half now. And so the Bearcats were able to get a good break right there, as if Smith had caught the pass cleanly, he would have been able to lay it in. Instead, he muffed the pass a little bit, had to grab it off the floor, and that resulted in his first pass attempt to Hunter, which led directly to the travel. Yeah, and yet again, Sam Houston takes this timeout again, and I'm pretty sure it was just after that bad offensive possession that we had, because yet again, another stupid play. How are you going to go up and not know exactly where you are and throw the ball off the side of the backboard? Holyfield needs to have more awareness to know where he is on the floor in reference to the basket. Yeah, we are watching the Sam Houston State dance team right now perform for our fans. Good crowd in attendance tonight, and the dancers doing their thing and looking good while doing it. We are just about ready to get back underway here as the buzzers are sounding and the refs are blowing their whistles. We see both teams breaking up right now, and we should be underway here in just a few seconds.
Hopefully Coach threw something up there on offense to maybe try and get this Bearcat offense going so we can put some more points on the board.
Inbounding the ball for the Bearcats is going to be Markel McKinney. He has just checked into the ball game. And bringing the ball up the floor is Darius Gatson, who just came back in as well during that timeout. Gatson is still guarded by Eamon Torres. Throws the ball into Thomas. Thomas signals for him to move out, give him some space. And Gatson barely saves it from a backcourt violation right there, as Thomas's pass went a little awry. He cuts inside, gets held very strongly by number 35, Lyndon Smith-Hyde. That is Smith-Hyde's first foul of the evening. That's going to be the 5th team foul of the half against the Colonels. So just 2 more will put the Bearcats in the bonus. And the refs initially were going to give it to the Bearcats on the sideline. Now they've determined that the ball should be placed at the baseline, and that is where the ball will be inbounded. Gatson throws it in to Markel McKinney. McKinney gives it up to number 32, Will Bond. Bond now passes it over to number 21, Paul Baxter. Baxter gives it to McKinney. McKinney gives it to Gatson. A lot of passes here on this possession. Back over to number 32, Bond. Bond gives it right back to Gatson. Gatson throws it over to McKinney. McKinney drives inside, and is that going to be a block or a charge? It is going to go against the offense right there. So the foul is called on number 2, Markel McKinney. McKinney's first foul of the game. And now the Colonels will have the ball at the baseline.
Yeah, the Bearcats made a substitution there, bringing in Jeremy McKay for Paul Baxter.
Yeah, McKay is a 5'10" junior guard from Headland, Alabama. And wow, the Colonels throw it deep. We called that a snowbird back in my day, and it resulted in an easy layup for number 1, Dontrell Thomas. That's going to make the score 15-6, and that's a bad possession for the Bearcat defense.
I'm not sure exactly how you let that happen on an inbound play from the other side of the court.
Gatson puts up a shot from just inside the free throw line. It is an air ball that is grabbed by Hunter. And once again, number 1 looked like he was in position to have a layup, but instead he tried to pass the ball, and it results in a loose ball tie-up, and that is going to give possession back to the Bearcats. So a bad decision right there from Thomas, as that looked like it could have been another layup.
Number 33, Nathaniel Mason.
So the Bearcats will be inbounding the ball now, trailing 15-6 with 10:36 remaining in the first half. Markel McKinney will be the one throwing the ball in for the Bearcats, and he gives it up to Darius Gatson. Gatson now bringing the ball up the court as he gets the play call from his head coach. Here comes the screen. He takes it straight inside to the hoop, and that's going to be an easy lay-in. And the Cats cut into the lead as Gatson scores his first 2 points of the evening. Gatson is the leading scorer on the season for the Bearcats, coming in averaging 8.6 points a game, as he is now guarding Amen Torres on defense. Torres gives it up to Jeremy Smith, who there was a switch right there. Now Smith is being guarded by Gatson, and now he switches back to Torres. Ball now in the hands of number 1. That's Dontrell Thomas. Once again, looked like he was trying to get the ball to Hunter, but Hunter is being guarded extremely tightly by James Thomas for the Bearcats. Markel McKinney now guarding, it was a double team right there, almost were able to get the steal, and a shot clock violation. Excellent defensive possession for the Bearcats right there.
Yeah, it was great defense right there by James Thomas down low, making sure that they cannot get the ball to Fred Hunter. And the Bearcats are a good job playing some help defense wherever the ball is away from the Bearcat defender that is farthest away on the opposite side of the court, is helping to help double team take away Fred Hunter.
And now Darius Gatson brings the ball back up the floor for the Bearcats. He moves it over to the left wing. Tried to pick up a screen. It wasn't there, though. He now gives the ball up to Thomas. Thomas working against Hunter. Puts up a one-handed hook. Doesn't find the bottom of the net, and it's instead grabbed by Hunter, who immediately gives up the ball to number 10. That is Pedro Marcel. Ball now in the hands of number 4, Jeremy Smith, who gives it up to Amen Torres. Torres gives it up. And ball back in the right wing now, excuse me, the left wing. From the elbow, that's number 1. Airballs it. Thomas is able to grab the rebound. And now the Bearcats are running up the floor. Weren't able to take advantage of the man advantage there. Fred Hunter was way back on the play, but the Bearcats were instead forced to set up as the ball was in the hands of number 10, Jeremy McKay, who then gave it back to number 1, Darius Gatson, the point guard. Thomas once again trying to set a screen for Gatson. It's just not working, though. McKay pump fakes, gets a little separation, puts up the J. It is no good. Ball is grabbed by number 10, Pedro Marcel. Marcel races up the floor, gives it to number 1, who commits an offensive foul. Wow, we have already seen 3 charges here in the early going. I guess these refs were watching that Iowa State-Kansas game the other night, and they want to make sure they get the calls right.
Yeah, charging fouls are usually hard to come by a lot of times, especially depending on the ref. So it looks like this team, this group of refs definitely looking to get the charge fouls called.
It looks like the Colonels will be making another substitution as number 13, Travis Julian, the redshirt freshman forward, standing 6'7", checks in for the first time this evening. He's coming in place of Fred Hunter, so it's Good to see Hunter having to take it to the bench, as he's only scored 2 points here in the first half so far. So the Bearcats have done a great job on Hunter.
Yeah, they've done a real good job on Hunter, and they've had three different Bearcats so far trying to hold Hunter, and the two that you would think would be the ones doing the best job are actually on the bench. They've had Holyfield and Terrence Motley, the two of your taller Bearcats, trying to hold Hunter down there, keep him from scoring. But right now it's James Thomas holding him down there, and he's holding the floor down pretty good.
Yeah, Thomas has been working extremely hard on the defensive end, and it's been paying off. Darius Gatson now has the ball in the front court for the Bearcats. Ball now in the hands of James Thomas. He gives it back to Gatson, who he then sets a ball screen. Gatson takes it inside, throws it across. Number 33 fires the three-point attempt. That was Nathaniel Mason. Mason was no good as the Colonels grab a rebound and race up the floor. Ball now in the hands of Jeremy Smith. Smith throws it over to Massell. Massell throws it to the corner. That's number 22, TJ Carpenter. Carpenter gives it up to Smith. Smith puts up a tough shot from just inside the elbow. Airballs it, but they're saying Sam Houston tipped it on the way out, so the Colonels will retain possession right there.
I think the refs are trying to say that the Bearcats got a piece of blocking.
All right, we have another timeout. So now 7:53 remains in the first half. The visiting Nicholls State Colonels have a 15-8 lead, but the last few minutes we've definitely seen improved play from the Bearcats.
Improved? Maybe. I guess on the defensive side of the ball a little bit, but out here when Mason taking that three-point shot, that's not the Bearcats' game. They don't have anybody on the offense shooting over 40% from the three-point line this year, so that's definitely not their game. They need to work on getting the ball down low, getting it in, driving, getting some putbacks. Definitely not taking three-point shots like that.
Yeah, the Bearcats have yet to make any of the three-point attempts they've had this season. But it's always easier to score from 2 feet away from the basket than it is to score from 20 feet away. So ultimately, I do think the Bearcats need to work on trying to get the ball inside more. But it's kind of tough when you've got such a defensive presence like Fred Hunter, who's such a standout player for the Colonels.
Yeah, they definitely need to. Fred Hunter doesn't come back in this time. He's still on the bench. They definitely need to go ahead and try and take advantage of that, of him not being in the game.
Yeah, they need to exploit him being out for as much as they can. Unfortunately, Hunter does check back in right here, so I guess he just needed a breather, and the timeout was all he needed as we are just about ready to get back underway. Pedro Massell will be inbounding the ball for the Colonels.
James Thomas going to have to go to work again on Fred Hunter.
Massell inbounds the ball to number 21, Shane Relu, who was the starting point guard tonight. Ball now in the hands of Jeremy Smith. Smith throws it inside to Hunter, and that might, I thought we might have had another charge right there. I guess he didn't quite get set. So that's going to be a foul on number 33 for the Bearcats, Nathaniel Mason. That is Mason's first foul of the evening, 17th foul of the half, and that is going to put the Colonels in bonus for the rest of the half. Doesn't really matter here anyway, as that was a shooting attempt. So Hunter's going to have 2 free throw attempts here. Remember, he missed both of his first 2 attempts. Make it 0 for 3, and I guess they said it wasn't a shooting attempt, it was just a 1-and-1 right there. So that's another good break for the Bearcats, as Hunter's now 0 for 3 from the line. Gatson throws the ball over, and the ball now inside to Thomas. Thomas, once again being guarded by Hunter. Thomas, fearless though, goes inside, tries for the layup, misses it. Ball was grabbed by Mason, and now the Bearcats are setting it back up on offense. Here comes the ball screen. Gatson goes inside, throws it over to the wing. Number 10 right there. Wow, excellent play by Thomas to get that ball. Goes up with it, doesn't quite make it, but didn't matter anyways. We have yet another charge. So that's going to be an offensive foul on number 20, James Thomas.
I think we have a good actor in Fred Hunter too on this court, because he did a pretty nice job of flopping there to draw that foul. A big man that outweighs Thomas, I'm sure, by at least 20 to 25 pounds is not going to hit the ground that easy when Thomas gets into him. It's a good acting job, sure.
Yeah, Thomas comes in tonight weighing at 215. Fred Hunter is 240, so right at 25-pound difference between those two men. As the Colonels have it up on their side of the ball, Pedro Massell with a 3-point attempt. No good. Ball is grabbed by Darius Gatson, who is now running up the floor with it. Gatson passes it over to number 33, Nathaniel Mason. Mason goes inside, shoots the short jumper. No good. It looked like he got blocked right there. Now the Colonels are running with it the other way. Oh, number 22 right there TJ Carpenter just lost the handle on it, and that's going to be a turnover for the Colonels.
Yeah, yet again we see the Bearcats taking some,
Welcome back to the court, number 32.
I want to say stupid, but I want to, not smart, I guess, you know, shots they should not be taking. Drive the ball in and make smarter decisions on the offensive side of the ball.
Markel McKinney checked back in for the Bearcats on that turnover, and he inbounded the ball. So now Gadsden once again has the ball. Throws it over to number 32, Will Bond. Bond gives it up to Baxter. Baxter for three. Nothing but net. And that's going to cut into the lead. It's now 15-11. Bearcats trying to come back. Number 21, Shane Rylu tried to throw the ball over to Pedro Massell. Ball got knocked out of bounds, and that's going to be another turnover. The Bearcats can score here, folks. Big swing of momentum.
Yeah, hopefully they can go down and get some more good ball movement like they did when they got Baxter open on that three-point shot.
All right, so once again, McKinney inbounds it to Gadsden, and Gadsden brings it up the floor unguarded. Now he's picked up by Torres. Torres thought he was going to get a screen right there. He wasn't. Thomas fires up a shot from the elbow and knocks it down. That's going to make it 15-13 now as we have less than 6 minutes to play in the first half.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Thomas was so wide open, but hey, Bearcats will definitely take it. A good shot there by Thomas.
All right, so now Colonel's on offense. Swing pass over to number 22, who gives it up to Eamon Torres. Torres gives it up to number 1, who attempts a three. No good. James Thomas on the rebound, gives it up to Paul Baxter, who just knocked down a three a few moments ago. Baxter still has hold of the ball, gives it up to Will Bond. Bond swings it over to Baxter. Baxter gives it to McKinney. McKinney fires a three. It's no good, but the Bearcats get the rebound. Ball now in the hands of point guard Darius Gadsden. Gadsden gives it over to Baxter. Baxter swings it over to McKinney. McKinney gives it inside, back out. Paul Baxter has the ball at the top of the key. Gets a screen from James Thomas. Throws it over to Will Bond. Ball in the corner now in the hands of Darius Gadsden. Gadsden now driving inside, passes it over to number 2. That's Markel McKinney. He gets fouled on the attempt. So with 5:01 remaining in the first half and the Bearcats trailing by 2, McKinney is headed to the line for 2 free throw attempts now.
That was a good job of McKinney to get position on his defender there to get in between him and his defender for the basket.
All right, McKinney setting up for his first attempt now. Once again, Bearcats trailing by 2, so they need both of these to go. And they get the first one. That rim has been quite the Bearcats' friend here in the first half. That is the third one they've gotten some love from. All right, McKinney now setting up for his second attempt. Once again, this is to tie the game. And the rim's not quite as friendly that time as the ball rims in and out, and now the Colonels are back on offense. Ball in the hands of Eamon Torres. Torres throws it over to number 21. That's Shane Rylu. Rylu gives it up to number 22, and Torres fires his first three-point attempt of the evening. Remember, I told you he was the sharpshooter. He misses that one, though, as the Bearcats are now running up the floor. Paul Baxter for 3. Remember, he just knocked down his last attempt. This one, however, does not go. Thomas gets another rebound, puts up a shot, gets fouled. The shot doesn't go, so Thomas will be heading to the line for 2 attempts.
Yeah, I don't agree with that pull-out shot right there when you have – they definitely had numbers coming down the court. So they definitely, I think, should try to get it into the paint. Thomas was down there to get an easier bucket, but luckily Thomas fights with a hard rebound and gets fouled anyway.
That foul goes against number 22. That is TJ Carpenter's first personal foul of the evening. 8th team foul of the half against the Colonels as Thomas is setting up for his first attempt. And that is going to tie the game up as he makes that nothing but the net. No needed help from the rim that time. All right, Thomas setting up for his second attempt. This is to give the Bearcats their first lead of the evening. It's on its way. And there's that help from the rim. Bearcats lead at 16-15. This is the first time the Bearcats have led all night. 4.5 minutes remain in the first half. Paul Baxter now guarding Eamon Torres very tightly. Torres is able to get the ball across half court, though. Torres now has it in the corner. Looking to get the ball to Hunter. Pass wasn't there, so he kicks it back outside. Number 22, Carpenter fires a long 3. No good, in and out, and Aaron Harwell is racing up the floor with the ball. They swing it to the corner. Ball back in the hands now of Harwell. Bearcats now looking to set up a more traditional play as they couldn't get a fast break attempt off right there. Ball now in the hands of Paul Baxter. Baxter swings it over to McKinney. McKinney throws it to Thomas. Thomas wasn't expecting the no-looker, and it results in a turnover. Torres looking to go coast to coast, misses it, and Baxter is there for the rebound. Now the Bearcats are going the other way with it. Baxter slowing it down, finds number 32, Bond. Bond misses the three-point attempt, and the ball is now back in possession of the Colonels. And it looks like we're finally going to slow it down here a little bit as Torres is looking to set up a traditional offense. Fred Hunter now has the ball. He is double-teamed, has to throw up a wild shot attempt, gets his own rebound, tries to put up another attempt, gets fouled on that, and that is going to send him to the line.
Yeah, there was still some very good defense there by James Thomas, even though they were able to get the ball to Fred Hunter. Thomas still staying on his feet, not falling for pump fakes, and he wasn't even the one who drew the foul, so good job there by Thomas still on the defense.
Fred Hunter is 0 for 3 from the free throw line this evening. He'll have 2 attempts when we get back underway here as we've taken a quick timeout. There's 3:22 remaining in the first half. Bearcats lead at 16-15. Hunter, though, does have 2 attempts coming back after this timeout. So, once again, though, I just want to point out, James Thomas, absolutely amazing first half. He maybe doesn't have a ton of points, but this is the kind of effort that shows you basketball is more than what the stat book shows sometimes, as his effort has been the absolute key to the Bearcats having the lead so far.
Yeah, he's definitely that effort player that you see on basketball teams. I think every team's got one. He's definitely that hustler, the one that you would call an energizer bunny that you would hate to guard on defense because he's just always going. It seems like he never runs out of energy. And I know Coach Hoops would probably like to have a few more of James Thomas's on his basketball squad.
Once again, Fred Thomas comes into the game averaging over 19 points a game for the Colonels. Has a 25-pound weight advantage on Thomas. Thomas has held him to just 2 points so far in the early going. Thomas has, I believe, 4 rebounds, but his defense has really been the story. All right, we are just about ready to get back underway now. Fred Hunter will be heading to the free throw line. His Colonels trail by 1 here. He'll have 2 attempts, so if he makes them both, we'll have the second lead change of the evening.
Already has number 20, Fred Hunter, up to shoot for the Colonels.
All right, here comes Hunter's first attempt now. He's getting set up. Shot on its way, and make it 0 for 4. That one was almost an air ball as he just caught the front of the rim. So Hunter's got to kind of be getting in his head now. He is 0 for 4 with a bad miss on the last one. Here comes the second attempt. He finally gets that one to drop. I guess he can't go 0 for. That's going to tie the game up at 16 as we have less than 3.5 to go here in the first half. Aaron Hallwell brings the ball up for the Bearcats. He gives it up to Nathaniel Mason. Mason gives it over to Harwell. Looking for the screen now. Excuse me, that was Markel McKinney. And the ball goes out of bounds off Fred Hunter, so it's going to remain a Bearcat ball.
Looks like Coach Hooten brought back in Holyfield to try and, I guess, give James Thomas a little bit of a breather. Hopefully Holyfield can do the same thing Thomas has been doing on Fred Hunter.
All right, ball's inbounded right there to Holyfield, who tried to put it up. Looked like he might have traveled, but it was a no call. He missed the shot. Fred Hunter grabbed the rebound, and now the Colonels are looking to reclaim the lead here. Ball currently in the hands of number 5, Amen Torres. Torres gives it up to Jeremy Smith. Smith throws it over to number 21, Shane Rylu. Rylu gives it back to Torres. And wow, talk about a gift right there off the deflection. Michael Holyfield gets the steal. Paul Baxter throws it over to Will Bond. Will Bond misses the layup though, and Fred Hunter has a rebound.
Those are some easy layups that the Bearcats just have to have.
All right, Torres brings the ball up for the Colonels. Gives it to Fred Hunter just briefly. Now the ball's in the hands of Amen Torres there. He caught the pass from Smith. Throws it over to Rylu in the corner. Rylu gives it to Hunter. Jeremy Smith cut to the basket and got swatted by Michael Holyfield. Bearcats going the other way now. Looking for 3, that's Markel McKinney. It's no good, and the ball goes out of bounds, and it's going to be Colonel ball.
There's that Sam Houston three-point offense that I don't like to see because they're definitely not three-point shooters here. So they need to, I think, take their time. They have a 35-second shot clock. They need to take their time to work the ball in more, maybe find the longer you hold it, the more likely you are to find a cutter somehow and get an easy layup.
All right, Smith inbounds the ball right there to Rylu. Rylu once again was the starting point guard, but he set for most of the half. And Rylu has the ball now. He's being guarded by Gatson. Wow, I don't know what happened there, but number 1, Dontrell Thomas was just hanging out in the other side of the court, finally walks up.
I think he might have got poked in the eye.
Smith gives the ball up. Smith turns it over there. Baxter racing, gives it up to Gatson. Gatson attempts a layup, gets fouled, and he'll be heading to the line, trying to reclaim the lead for the Bearcats.
It's a good job of Gatson to take it to the hole, but there again, they have another advantage. It was 3-on-1, come down the court. He should have maybe a little bit of move, and he could have passed it to an easy open Bearcat. Unfortunately, now he's sent to the line, and as we know, the Bearcats struggle from the line.
All right, let's hope Gatson can buck that trend here. Remember, that rim has been very kind to the Bearcats so far in this half. Gets a little help from it there. Didn't need a whole lot, but it is going to give the Bearcats a lead as Gatson knocks down his first attempt. Wow. That gives him 3 points so far on the evening. Second attempt coming here. Bearcats now lead at 17-16. Minute 41 remaining in the first half. The attempt is on its way. That one got quite a bit of help from the rim. And the Bearcats now lead at 18-16. Once again, the ball is being brought up by Amen Torres. Bearcats trying to force a turnover here. Torres now looking, that is number 21, Rylu. Rylu gives it up to Torres. Torres fires the three. No good, and the Bearcats get the rebound. Paul Baxter racing the other way. Baxter looking to go coast to coast, lays it up. No good, in and out of the rim. Michael Holyfield grabs the rebound, puts it back in, and the Bearcats lead it by 4. Once again, Bearcats looking to trap the ball now in the backcourt, weren't able to quite do it, and Michael Holyfield with the block, but it didn't matter as there was an offensive foul anyway. Will Bond took the charge right there, and the Bearcats will have it back on offense with exactly 1 minute remaining in the half.
Yeah, these two blocks that Holyfield has got have definitely got this crowd going in here, so hopefully this crowd can keep going in it and feed some more momentum to these Bearcat ball players.
And checking back into the game is that little spark plug, James Thomas. Aaron Hallwell brings the ball up the floor, gives it right to Thomas, I should say. Ball now in the hands of Paul Baxter, who travels. So with 46.9 seconds remaining in the first half, the Colonels will get the ball back. And they'll be taking it from the sideline. Inbounding the ball is going to be Jeremy Smith. He throws it over to Shane Rylu. Rylu not being guarded too closely just yet. Gatson picks him up around midcourt. Throws it over to number 35, Smith Hyde. Hyde then throws it over to Rylu. Rylu gives it to Smith. Smith gives it to Torres. And once again, they go inside to Fred Hunter. This time, Hunter's able to grab it, and he gets fouled on the attempt. Foul goes against number 1. That is Darius Gatson's third foul of the evening. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Gatson come out here unless the Bearcats really want to risk him picking up a fourth foul, and then he'd have to sit for quite a while in the second half. Making no move to the bench, and Hunter makes his first attempt, and now it looks like we are going to get a
back up to the board.
Well, Harwell's the one that comes out, not Gatson. That's a bit surprising right there. If you're going to take out a guard, why would you leave your starting point guard and leading scorer who has 3 fouls already in the game? Second attempt coming here from Hunter. He misses that one, so he continues to struggle at the line. That makes him 2 for 7 now. Bearcats have the ball. Shot clock's turned off as there's less than 35 seconds remaining in the half. So this should be the final possession of the half, as the Bearcats currently lead it by 3. Now in a situation like this, you normally don't try to get a shot attempt until there's less than 7 seconds remaining. We see the shot goes up with 6.5, misses, gets the rebound, loose ball, and are they going to be able to get a shot up? Shot is up, falls short. It was a decent attempt at it though, but the Bearcats do lead it 20-17 at halftime. So Bryce, what do you think was the key to making the comeback and getting the lead in the first half?
I think it was definitely going to have to be on the defensive side of the ball. They kept Fred Hunter below. He's only had 4 points on the night so far. So being that aggressive on defense and keeping him in check, and then allowing us to get the ball on offense and kind of run our thing, run our show the way we want to.
All right, we'll be right back with the second half. Once again, the Bearcats lead at 20-17. This is Huntsville's Bearcat Sports.
The Junior Bearcat Club and all the resident hall students out there. So fans, stand up Make noise and get behind the Bearcats.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bernard G. Johnson Coliseum. I'm Trent Scott, joined by Bryce Leeser. Your Bearcats currently lead at 20-17. It was an interesting first half. The Bearcats really struggled on offense in the early going, but were able to find their footing in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the half, and able to come back from a 15-6 deficit to head into the locker room with a 2017 lead. The Nicholls State Colonels will start with the ball here. Ball currently in the hands of Shane Rylu, the point guard. Rylu is guarded by Darius Gatson. Throws the ball over to the wing. Ball currently in the hands of number 22. That's TJ Carpenter. Carpenter gives it back to Rylu. Rylu then gives it up to number 1, Darnell Thomas. Ball now in the hands of Hunter, he gives it up to Thomas. Thomas then throws it back out to Rylu. Rylu gives it up to number 22, Carpenter. Carpenter fires a 3. Misses badly, chases down his own ball, but is not able to get it. Darius Gatson gets the rebound for the Bearcats, runs all the way across the court before passing it to Baxter. Baxter almost turns it over there. Gatson is able to recover it. And now the Bearcats will try and set up a traditional offensive play. Gatson looking for a screen, doesn't get it. Instead passes it to Thomas. Thomas goes inside, puts up a shot, and misses it. Holyfield was almost able to get the rebound, but the Colonels come away with it, and now they're back on offense. Ball now in the hands of number 20, Fred Hunter. Remember, folks, he is the leading scorer on the year for the Colonels, coming in averaging over 19 points a game, had just 2 in the first half, as the Bearcats get another rebound. That was number 33, Nathaniel Mason. Gatson now racing up the court for the Bearcats, gets a screen from Thomas, throws it inside to Holyfield. Holyfield kicks it out to Baxter. Baxter tried to throw it back inside to Holyfield, but Holyfield slipped. Fred Hunter gets the steal. Rylu on the pass, and we have the first foul of the second half. That was number 32 for the Colonels going up for the layup. That is Jamarcus Horace. Horace got fouled by Paul Baxter, I believe. Let's check the scoreboard real quick. Nope. That goes against number 1.
Jamarcus Horace.
Darius Gatson. And it looks like they must have changed something because late in the first half, they signaled that Gatson had 3 fouls, but now they're showing that that was his 3rd foul, as Horace missed the first free throw attempt. So that's a big break for the Bearcats.
Definitely some good news for the Bearcats there.
Horace is able to knock down second attempt, and so that's going to make the score 20-18 in favor of the Bearcats with just under 18 and a half minutes to go. All right, Gatson now brings the ball up the court. Almost got a screen from Holyfield. Now he picks up that screen. Swings it over to Baxter. Baxter was wide open for a second. Decided to go inside with it. Airballs it, but Thomas, there he is again, folks. Gets the offensive rebound and the putback, and the Bearcats now lead it again by 4.
Yeah, it's a good job of Thomas getting in there, sneaking in there to get that rebound.
All right, ball now in the heads of Fred Hunter. Hunter being guarded by Thomas, passes it over to Carpenter. Carpenter gives it back to Hunter. Hunter now looking for a shot attempt. Oh, it looked like it was going to go out, but that rim must be loose or something because it is letting everything drop. That's going to make the score 22-20 now in favor of the Bearcats.
Yeah, Thomas had good position on Hunter there on that defensive possession. Unfortunately, Hunter was still able to go up and get the friendly roll.
All right, ball now back in possession of the Bearcats. Thomas fires a jumper, knocks it down. So Thomas with the answer right there. That makes the score 24-20 now, as Thomas has 10 points. Ball currently in the hands of number 1. That is Dontrell Thomas. Thomas gives it up to Rylu. Rylu gives it up to Carpenter. Carpenter goes inside to Hunter. Hunter throws it back out to Thomas. Thomas fires the 3 and knocks it down. And it's a 1-point game here in Huntsville, Texas. The Bearcats lead at 24-23. Darius Gatson now looking for the screen. Here comes Thomas. Thomas didn't quite get the screen set. Now Thomas has the ball inside. He passes it out to Baxter. Baxter gives the ball back to Thomas. Once again, Thomas is being guarded by Fred Hunter. Thomas takes a dribble, goes inside, puts up a shot, no good. But Holyfield gets the rebound, and the Bearcats will keep possession. Throws it out to Gatson. Gatson then passes it to Nathaniel Mason, and Mason now gives it back to Gatson. All right, Gatson gives it up to Baxter. Baxter gives it up to Thomas. Thomas throws it to Holyfield. Holyfield just misses the layup, but it looks like we're going to have a foul here. Which way is it going to go? That foul is going to go against number 21. That is Shane Rylu. Rylu's second of the evening, and that's going to send Michael Holyfield, the big man, to the free throw line for his first 2 attempts of the evening.
Yeah, it was a good offense. That was pretty good offensive possession so far by the Bearcats. They get that first miss, but then Holyfield with the rebound passes it back out. Thomas with a good feed into Holyfield. Holyfield goes up strong. Doesn't quite get the roll, but luckily gets into the free throw line. Unfortunately, he misses his first one.
All right, so once again, 16:22 remaining in the first half. Bearcats lead at 24-23. Low-scoring game here, and that's when those missed free throws really hurt. Let's see if he can make up for it. Here he does, and that's going to make it 25-23. Bearcats increase their lead. Darius Gatson now guarding Rylu very tightly. Rylu still with the ball. Throws it over to Carpenter. Oh, wow. Went up for a dunk. Got hit from the backside. That is going to go against Michael Holyfield. That is going to be Holyfield's second foul of the evening and the second team foul of the half against the Bearcats.
It's actually going to be his third foul of the evening.
Sorry, I was a little quick on the draw right there. They had not updated the scoreboard. So now at the line is number 32, Jamarcus Horace. And Horace knocks down the first attempt, cutting the lead down to 1, and he'll now have a chance to tie it. Holyfield has to tuck in his jersey right there. And we are set for the second attempt. No good, and Paul Baxter gets the rebounds. Bearcats retain the lead and regain possession. Darius Gatson gives the ball to Nathaniel Mason. Mason gets a screen. Oh, it was a good idea, but the ball got knocked out of bounds. Mason tried to give a little dump pass to Thomas, but the ball got knocked out of bounds, and the Bearcats turn it over. So now we have our first timeout of the second half. Looks like it's just a media timeout. So the Bearcats lead it 25-24, 15:54 remaining in the ball game.
Yeah, both of these teams came out not necessarily sloppy, but they were putting up some shots. Unfortunately, the rims were just not being friendly to them on either side of the ball. So, but the Bearcats have done a fairly decent job of staying on top of these Colonels right now. And Fred Hunter's starting to get maybe a little bit more involved here on the offensive side of the ball. Hopefully we can still keep him in check, though.
Yeah, Hunter's already scored more points here in the second half than he managed in the entire first half. He had just 2 points in the first half. He's got 4 in the second half, giving him a total of 6 for the evening. But once again, the Bearcats being led both on offense and on the defensive end by James Thomas, number 20. He has 10 points, but really the story of the game has been his effort on defense.
Definitely a guy, as we talked about before in early goings, a guy of that size, the man to be able to contain a guy of Fred Hunter's size is an excellent job. And then still being able to turn around and turn that effort into points on the offensive side of the board is a good thing.
Yeah, we can't stress it enough. 25-pound weight difference. They're both 6'5", but Hunter has a much stockier build than Thomas, so the fact that Thomas has been able to play such tough defense is quite the accomplishment. We are just about ready to get back underway now as number 22, TJ Carpenter, is coming to inbound the ball for the Colonels. He gives it up to Shane Ryler, and we are back underway with less than 16 minutes to go. Ryler races up the court, gives the ball over to number 1, Dontrell Thomas, who immediately gives the ball over to Carpenter. Carpenter gives it back to Rylu. Rylu goes inside to Hunter. Thomas falls down. Hunter wasn't able to get a shot off, but number 22, Carpenter, crashed inside. They miss a layup, get a rebound, miss it again. Once again, get another rebound, and this time they put it in, and the Colonels have reclaimed the lead.
Yeah, just a bad job of defensive rebounding there by the Bearcats.
So the Colonels now lead at 26-25 as the Bearcats are looking to answer on offense. Paul Baxter going inside, kicks it over to the corner. Bit wide on the pass, and Mason had to jump to save it. Ball now in the hands of James Thomas. Thomas kicks it out to Paul Baxter. Baxter with the pump fake, puts up the jumper, and knocks it down, and the Bearcats are back in front. That didn't take long.
Yeah, it was a good job, Baxter. They're working off that screen and pulling up for a nice jump shot.
All right, bringing the ball up the floor now for the Colonels was Rylu. Rylu threw it over to number 1, Dontrell Thomas. Thomas then gave it up to Hunter. Hunter goes inside for a shot, gets blocked again by Michael Holyfield. Darius Gatson now setting up the offense for the Bearcats. Gets the screen from Thomas, puts up a jumper, guarded very tightly, but it didn't matter as he knocked it down anyway. Cats now lead it by 3. All right, Rylu now trying to get something going for the Colonels, who have really struggled on the last 2 possessions. Ball currently in the hands of Fred Hunter. Don't know why he's around the three-point line. He's not going to do much work out there. I'd keep the big man inside all I could. Ball's now in the hands of number 32. That is Jamarcus Horace. Looks like we have a foul, though. That one goes against number 35, Holyfield's fourth. That leaves him with just one more foul remaining for the game before he fouls out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Holyfield have to check out here.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too smart on Coach Hooten's part to leave him in. So definitely look to see him coming out of the game real soon.
Don't see anybody standing up on the bench just yet. Horace now setting up for 2 free throw attempts. And he makes the first one. And there's the substitution, number 24. Terrence Motley checks back in. Remember, Motley came in the first half very briefly and picked up 2 fouls of his own. So he's in a position where he can't commit fouls because the man he just checked in for is in foul trouble, as the second attempt is good as well. Also checking in right there was Aaron Harwell, who has the ball for the Bearcats. Harwell gives it up to Baxter. Baxter then throws it over to Mason. Mason back to Harwell. Harwell cutting to the baseline, puts up a shot. No good. Thomas tried the putback, it was no good, and now the Colonels have a 2-on-2 break here, and they're going to hustle it to the, oh wow, loose ball, and what's the call here? They're saying the Bearcats were able to get it and call time out, so it's going to be Bearcat ball.
Good smart play there by the Bearcats on the floor to, once they did get possession of that ball very briefly, to go ahead and call a timeout so they can maintain possession.
All right, to reset the situation, 13:37 remaining in the second half. Bearcats currently lead at 29-28. This is their second timeout of the evening. They have 3 timeouts remaining. The Colonels have only taken 1, so they still have 4 timeouts left. Foul situation, the Bearcats have already committed 3 fouls in the second half, while the Colonels have only committed 1. And very quietly, Paul Baxter, remember he knocked down a 3 in the first half. He also had a nice looking jumper down here. Baxter now is up to 7 points on the evening.
Yeah, it's good to see some more offensive production out of maybe a different player other than James Thomas. As unfortunately, James Thomas does not have any points in this half, or does he?
Yes, 2.
2, okay. So 2 points, but maybe he's off to a slow start. He's definitely getting some good shot opportunities. Hopefully it'll start falling for him.
And remember, this has been a very low-scoring game. The Bearcats only had 20 points at halftime, and that was enough for the lead. They've picked up that pace a little bit, as they already have 9 points here in the second half, and we're only about 6.5 minutes in. So it'll be good to see if they can keep that pace going. On the flip side, though, the Colonels have already scored 12 in the second half, and they only had 16 at halftime. So the Bearcats need to get their defensive rhythm going again.
Yeah, they still got their defensive rhythm going when it comes to maintaining Fred Hunter, their leading scorer, but unfortunately some of these other Colonels have decided to step up and start putting some points on the board.
All right, we are ready to get back under play here. Inbounding the ball is going to be James Thomas to Aaron Harwell. And here we go, folks. Harwell brings it up the floor. He's picked up on defense by Shane Rylu. He throws the ball over to Terrence Motley, and Motley goes inside. I thought it was just going to be a turnover. Instead, it's an offensive foul, and that is the exact thing we said he could not afford to do. He checks in and immediately commits a foul. That's his 3rd personal. So this is going to be an interesting story to watch, as, remember, Michael Holyfield has 4 fouls, and now Terrence Motley has 3. So the big men are in foul trouble for the Bearcats.
Yeah, these refs are kind of charge happy here, because yet again, that was Fred Hunter who ended up on the floor. And I don't know, I'm not agreeing with some of these charge fouls.
All right, the Colonels inbound the ball to number 1. Dontrell Thomas bringing the ball up for the Colonels. He is guarded by Paul Baxter, and it looks like we're going to have a reaching foul right there. Baxter tried to pop it out of his hand, but instead of getting the ball, he caught the hand, and that's going to be a reach foul every time. That is Baxter's first foul of the evening. 15th foul of the half for the Bearcats. And the ball is inbounded to Fred Hunter. Hunter gives it up to Rylu. Rylu then swings it over to Carpenter. Carpenter throws it back inside to Hunter. Hunter gives it back to Carpenter then gives it back to Hunter, who then throws it out across the court to number 1. That is Dontrell Thomas. Thomas takes it inside for the layup, gets it to drop, and he's going to be going to the free throw line. So the Colonels have reclaimed the lead and have a free throw attempt coming.
Yeah, and that foul is going to be on Paul Baxter.
So Baxter played the entire first half and most of the 7 minutes before getting any fouls, and then picks up 2 in rapid succession as the free throw attempt is good for Thomas. And the Colonels now lead at 31-29. 13 minutes and 4 seconds remain in the second half. Aaron Harwell now brings the ball up the floor for the Bearcats. Ball now in the hands of number 24, Terrence Motley. Excuse me, that's number 21, Paul Baxter. That is Motley who puts up the jumper. No good, and Fred Hunter gets the rebounds, and now the Colonels are taking it the other way. And that's going to be a layup. Number 22, TJ Carpenter. Those are his first points of the evening, and the Colonels now lead it by 4. Aaron Harwell with the ball for the Bearcats. Throws it over to Baxter. Baxter looks like he's looking inside. Instead throws it over to Mason. Mason throws it back to Harwell. Harwell gets a screen from Thomas, taking it inside, passes it over to Mason at the top of the key. Mason goes inside for the layup. No good. Ball goes out of bounds, but it was last touched by the Colonels, and the Bearcats will retain possession. And they're making a couple more substitutes. Number 1, Darius Gatson checks back in, and he is joined by Will Bond.
Yeah, James Thomas for the Bearcats was playing around the three-point line in that last possession there, and I didn't quite agree with that. I like seeing him down low and working in the paint.
The Colonels have their own substitutions there as Jeremy Smith checks back in the game, and so does Travis Julian. Bearcats now looking for the inbounds pass. Ball is inbounded to James Thomas. Thomas gives it to Motley. Motley gives it to Gatson. Gatson gives it to Harwell. Ball back now in the hands of Gatson. Gatson gives it back to Harwell. Harwell throws it over to the corner. And once again, we're back to Gatson. Bearcats having a lot of passes, being very patient on offense. Gatson now has the ball again, cuts all the way inside to the lane, passes it to Motley. Motley almost got the layup to drop, but he was fouled, and he'll be heading to the line for 2 attempts.
That was a good look there by Gatson as when he drove in, he drew 3 Colonel defenders in there. Nice feed there to
Terrence Motley.
So good putback there by Motley, so hopefully he can make these free throws.
Yeah, Motley has yet to score tonight, so he wants to knock down these free throws and get a couple of points. So we're under break here. Bearcats trailing now. It's 33-29, 11 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the second half. Tough start to the second half here for the Bearcats. They had things absolutely on lock on the defensive end in the first half. But we're not even halfway through the second half. They've already allowed more points in this half than they did in the entire first half.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because, Bearcats went out of the first half on fire, and they coming into this one kind of, a little sluggish. And the Colonels, unfortunately, have come out pretty hot and a lot more intensity in the second half so far than they showed in the entire first half.
We're seeing a little putting display here for some timeout entertainment. The first putt missed badly. But, we saw the Bearcats, they got off to a slow start in the first half as well. They trailed most of the first half. In fact, they trailed by as much as 9 at one point, and they were able to come back and take the lead into the locker room. So we know the Bearcats can come back here. So they need to focus on slowing down the Colonels' offensive rhythm that the Colonels have found, and they can come back relatively easy.
Oh, yeah, they can. They just need to transfer that defensive intensity that they have to the offense and keep shooting and the buckets will start falling.
All right, so here we go. Terrence Motley setting up for 2 free throw attempts as his Bearcats trail by 4.
Number 24, Terrence Motley up to shoot for the Bearcats.
Here's Motley's first attempt. It is no good. He misses long. So the Bearcats continue to trail by 4. And we're just about ready for the second attempt now. Up, and that one is no good as well. It's number 1. Gets the rebound. That was Dontrell Thomas. Thomas is the leading scorer in the ballgame. He has 11 points. Smith throws it into Hunter. Hunter with a spin move, and wow, he is lucky he did not get injured right there as he fell following the foul. The ball was right underneath his feet. That's an easy way to twist an ankle. So Hunter very lucky to not be injured there. Remember, Hunter, free throws were very bad in the first half, 2 for 7. So we'll see. We saw him working on them at halftime. Apparently they did not work as he missed that one short. And Markel McKinney checks back in for the Bearcats. He comes in favor of Terrence Motley.
Yeah, and the reason Terrence Motley's having to come out right now is that foul that was just committed on Hunter. He did that, and that brought his foul total to 4.
And Hunter misses another free throw. Tough night for him at the line, but you know the Bearcats aren't complaining. All right, here we go. Bearcats on offense. Aaron Harwell with the ball, goes inside, gives it to Thomas. Thomas puts it down, and that's going to cut the lead to just 2 for the Colonels.
It's a good job of Thomas to get in there and get some good position on Hunter, and a good feed there by Gatson to get the easy bucket for Thomas.
All right, Colonels now back on offense. Ball currently in the hands of Jeremy Smith. Smith now passes it to Carpenter. Carpenter gives it back to Smith. They are determined to get the ball into Fred Hunter. That is the only direction they're looking. Carpenter fires a shot there. Hunter with a very aggressive tip right there. Is able to get it to go, and that's going to make the lead 4 once again. Darius Gatson is back in the game for the Bearcats. He has the ball right now. Nathaniel Mason fires the 3, knocks it down. He fell down but was not able to get the foul call. That was actually Will Bond, Bond came in favor of Mason. But Bond was able to knock down the 3 right there. He was looking for the foul call and the potential 4-point play. Didn't get the foul, but the 3 is still good enough. Ball currently in the hands of Shane Riley. Riley cutting to the corner, throws it to Hunter. Hunter gets fouled, and let's see if he can make any free throws this time. That foul is going to go against number, wait for it, we're still waiting for it.
I want to say it was on Markel McKinney, but I guess we're never going to know.
Anyway, we'll let you know that when we find out. Here comes the first free throw attempt. That foul was on McKinney. This time Hunter knocks it down. So that's McKinney's second foul of the evening, as number 35, Lyndon Smith-Hyde, checks back in. Coming out of the game is TJ Carpenter. So here comes Hunter's second attempt. It is no good, so his struggles continue. Just 3 out of 11 now. So Bearcats back on offense. Aaron Harwell has the ball. Harwell throws it over to Bond. Bond fires up another 3, and he knocks that one down. And the Bearcats are back in front, 37-36. That didn't take long. Will Bond firing away.
Yeah, hopefully Bond can stay on fire like that. Keep feeding him the ball.
All right, Colonel's back on offense. Ball in the hands of Jeremy Smith. Smith gives it to Smith-Hyde. Smith-Hyde gives it up to Riley. Riley throws it inside to Hunter. Hunter gives it up to Smith-Hyde. Smith-Hyde fires the 3, and the Colonels lead it once again, 39-37.
Yeah, after watching that defensive possession for the Bearcats, it looked like they switched to a 2-3 zone. They're going to maybe try and start making these Colonels trying to shoot these outside shots.
All right, ball in the hands of Aaron Harwell now. Harwell gets a screen from Thomas, throws it over to Bond. I thought Bond was going to fire a 3. He pulled back, and instead we have a foul. That was committed by number 1. That foul goes against Dontrell Thomas, the leading scorer of the evening for the Colonels. Just the 3rd team foul against the Colonels. Bearcats have already been called for 8, so a big discrepancy there. Let's hope it doesn't affect the outcome. Conversation here between James Thomas and the official. And we are ready to get back underway. McKinney inbounding the ball for the Bearcats. Throws it long. Let's see if Gatson gets it. Remember, no backcourt violation there because no one touched the ball before it crossed half court. So Bearcats are fine with that. And Gatson now setting up the offense. Throws it over to Harwell. Harwell was open for a second, decided not to shoot it. Instead goes inside to Thomas. Thomas passes it back out to Gatson. That was almost a turnover. But Gatson gets the ball and is setting up the offense once again. Thomas coming to set a screen. Gatson pump fakes, throws it over to Harwell. Harwell fires the jumper from the elbow, knocks it down, and we are tied in Huntsville. Lyndon Smith-Hyde, who knocked down a 3 on the Colonel's last possession, has the ball now. Throws it inside to Fred Hunter. Hunter throws it over to number 1, Dontrell Thomas. Thomas with the spin move, and the layup is good. Colonel's back in front, 41-39.
Colonel's had some good ball movement there. to find the open shooter.
All right, Aaron Harwell now with the ball, goes inside, throws it to Thomas. Thomas up for the attempt, just misses it as it hit the backboard and then bounced off the front of the rim. Colonels get the rebound, and now they're running with it. Shane Rylu, wow, nice dribbling display right there, and the layup, and the Colonels lead it by 4. Darius Gatson has the ball, and the Bearcats are calling timeout. That is their 3rd timeout of the evening. 8:02 remains in this, scheduled in regulation. The way this keeps going, we might see some overtime here tonight, folks. But your score, 8:02 remaining. Colonels 43 from the visiting Nichols State.
Today's Lucky Road is Section
And the Bearcats 39.
Congratulations, you're all winning coupons for a free
James Thomas continues to be the leading scorer this evening for the Bearcats. Thomas has 12 points, just 1 foul. He has been working. You know he's going to be tired tomorrow because of all the effort he is exerting. On the other side of the ball, the leading scorer is Dontrell Thomas, and it looks like he's going to be coming out here as we have substitutions for the Colonels. Number 4, Jeremy Smith has checked back into the game, as has number 13, Travis Julian. Looks like things are going to be status quo for the Bearcats, though. No changes for them. Actually, it looks like we might have a change, as number 33, Nathaniel Mason, is now in the game. So the Bearcats do make a substitution as Nathaniel Mason comes in. And he gets the ball off the inbounds from Will Bond. Bond just knocked down back-to-back threes. Let's see if he attempts another one here. Passes it to Harwell. Harwell passes it to Mason. Mason knocks down the jumper. Bearcats trail by 2.
Bearcats.
Lyndon Smith-Hyde now bringing the ball up the floor for the Colonels. He throws it inside to number 32. And let's see, is this going to be another foul on the Bearcats? I believe it is. That goes against number 20, James Thomas. That's his 2nd foul of the evening, and we have another break in the action right here.
I definitely don't agree with that call by the ref. Thomas was working on number 32, Jamarcus Horace, down low, and Horace gave him a nice shoulder to the mouth, and definitely thought that one was going to be called on Horace, not Thomas. Unfortunately, it went the other way, and Thomas has the 2nd foul tonight.
So 7 minutes and 40 seconds remain in the 2nd half. The Nichols State Colonels lead it 43-41. I guess we're not going to get any entertainment displays this time. I kind of like the little putting display we had last time. We do see the dancers dancing over there, though, and the cheerleaders having a little bit of fun.
The song on, that means you gotta dance. That's all right.
So, if you're Coach Hooten, what are you telling your guys right now?
I like that.
I'm telling them to maintain your defensive tempo up, keep the aggression and the pressure up, make them make the hard shots so they can't get easy ones like into Fred Hunter or an easy layup like Dontrell Thomas is beginning to accumulate his points. And on offense, I'm going to tell them, keep working the ball like they're doing. They keep working the ball like that. They keep finding them open shots, and as long as they keep hitting them, it keeps working. So that's what I'm telling my players right now.
We are just about ready to get back under action now as both teams have made their way onto the floor. Looks like we have another substitution as Eamon Torres has checked in for the Colonels. Standing at the line now is Jamarcus Horace. And this should be a 1-and-1 attempt. Oh, I guess they said that was a shooting foul, so even more of a questionable call. Here comes the first attempt. No, I was right. It was a 1-and-1. The local stadium announcer was wrong. Bearcats get the rebound on the miss. Orwell with the ball. Throws it over to Mason. Mason fires a three, in and out, and the Colonels get the rebound. Torres fires the shot from the elbow, misses short, and that ball's going to go out of bounds. Who was it touched last by? It's going to be the Bearcats' ball. Bearcats looking to tie it here. The ball will be inbounded by number 3, Nathaniel Mason. He'll be throwing it in to Aaron Harwell, and here we go. Harwell now crosses midcourt. He's guarded by Dontrell Thomas, the leading scorer in the ball game. Thomas has 13 points so far this evening. Will Bond gives it back to Harwell there. Harwell picks up a screen, cuts across the floor, and passes it to Darius Gatson. Michael Holyfield is back on the floor, by the way. I just noticed that. And Darius Gatson lost control of the ball right there, and that's going to be a turnover. So under 7 minutes remaining, Michael Holyfield, the big 6'11" center for the Bearcats, comes back into the game with 4 fouls. If he commits any more fouls, he is done for the evening.
And they actually have him on Fred Hunter too, so that's definitely interesting to see, considering Fred Hunter is the one that they always try and work the ball to.
I guess James Thomas needed a bit of a breather, and they're trying to get that for him right now. As Eamon Torres has the ball, and he's guarded by Mason. And that's another charge. I believe that is number 6 on the evening.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this many charges called in one game.
That foul goes against number 22, TJ Carpenter. That's Carpenter's 3rd foul of the evening, 4th team foul of the half against the Colonels. Ball inbounded right there to Aaron Harwell, and Harwell brings it back again across half court. He gets the call from Coach Hooten, gets the screen from Michael Holyfield, now gets a screen from Mason. Mason pass fakes it and then gives it to Harwell. And what do we have here? I'm still not quite sure what the call was. I think that was an elbow called against Michael Holyfield. Yes, it was, folks. Michael Holyfield has fouled out. So it's a big loss for the Bearcats. They lose their 6'11" presence in the center with still 6 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the second half. And this could go to overtime, so that could be a big deal for the Bearcats.
Yeah, that was definitely not a foul that Holyfield.
And we have another charge. Thomas checks in and immediately hits the dirt. Foul number 2 of the evening is called against Paul Baxter right there. So this has turned into quite a charge fest both ways. Aaron Harwell gives the ball to Darius Gatson right there. Gatson gets the screen from Thomas, throws it over to Bond. Bond fires a 3. No good on that one. He had knocked down his last 2 attempts. Really wanted that one to drop, as it would have given the Bearcats the lead.
And it looked really good coming off his hands. Unfortunately, it just fell just a little bit short.
Eamon Torres throws it over to the corner to TJ Carpenter. Carpenter gives it right back. Throws the ball over to Dontrell Thomas. Thomas then throws it inside to Carpenter. That ball gets knocked out of bounds by Carpenter, and it's going to be Bearcat ball again, as number 21, Paul Baxter, is checking back in. Comes in favor of Will Bond. Less than 5.5 minutes remain. 5:27 remains on the clock. Bearcats trailing by 2, 43-41. Aaron Harwell has the ball. He is being guarded by Dontrell Thomas. Gets the screen, and we've been seeing those ball screens all night as the primary basis of the Bearcats offense. Thomas pump fakes, goes back up with it, gets fouled. Unfortunately, the ball got caught right there. Another like half a rotation, and it might have fallen in. Instead, Thomas will be heading to the free throw line for 2 attempts to try and tie the game.
It was a good move there by Thomas to get underneath Fred Hunter and then get the pump fake to make him come up and then go up and draw the foul.
That gives Hunter 3 fouls on the evening now. And here comes Thomas's first attempt, taking his time. And knocks it down. That makes the score 43-42 now. Bearcats need this one to tie it. Big attempt right here for Thomas. Once again, Thomas being very patient, taking his time, wants to shoot it just when he's ready. The attempt is up, and that one's no good as it bounced off the rim. Fred Hunter got the rebound, and the Bearcats will continue to trail for now. Ball in the hands of Shane Rylu. Rylu being guarded by Harwell. Ball now in the corner, backed out to the wing. And they throw the ball inside to Fred Hunter. Hunter once again being guarded by Thomas, throws it outside. Over to the wing, that's Shane Rylu with the ball. Rylu being guarded by Harwell, cuts it inside, throws it over to Carpenter. Carpenter wide open, fires the 3 and knocks it down. Big shot right there as the Colonels increase their lead to 4. Harwell now getting set up for the Bearcats. See if we get a ball screen like we normally do. Here it comes. Mason with the screen there. They go the other way though. and gets a screen from Anderson. Throws it over to Harwell. Harwell was open for just a second. Mason fires a three. Goes short. Anderson with the, Thomas with the tough rebound. I think that might be an offensive foul. Nope. As many charges as they called, I was for sure that was going to be one. Instead, big alert right here. 4th foul on Fred Hunter. You know the Bearcats would love to see him commit another one because he would be done for the evening.
No, that one was on Thomas. They called a charging foul on Thomas.
Wow, so I was right the first time. So scratch that, folks. Fred Hunter still has 3 fouls, and now so does Thomas. Charge number 8.
Yeah, and as I said before, I think Fred Hunter should go to L.A. and get a nice acting going on because he's doing a good job of flopping here.
We saw the Oscars last Sunday. I think we might have an early candidate for lead role. Wow, sorry about that. Long pass goes out of bounds, and the Bearcats will get it right back on their own baseline. Nice break right there. We saw that play work out for them in the first half. No such luck there on the bad inbounds pass.
Yeah, well, when they did it in the first half, they threw it to Dontrell Thomas, a little bit more athletic person running down the field. This time they tried to do it, down the court. This time they tried to do it to Fred Hunter. Definitely not the guy that I would want running down the court.
What do we have here? Do we have another foul? That one goes against Shane Rylew, folks. That is Rylu's 3rd of the evening. 7th team foul of the half for the Colonels, and that's going to send the Bearcats into the bonus. It will be a 1-and-1 attempt for Darius Gatson. Gatson really needs to knock down this first one to secure the second attempt and make this a 1-possession game as the Bearcats currently trail by 4. Here comes the first attempt. It is good, so Gatson will be shooting another one here. The Bearcats trail by 3. .408 remains in the ball game. Gatson trying to cut the lead to 2. He is able to do so. 2 big free throws right there for the Bearcats as Lyndon Smith-Hyde checks back in for the Bearcats. The Colonels. Ball inbound to the Shane Rylew. Rylew being guarded by Darius Gatson, and we see the Bearcats putting on the press. This worked out pretty well for them in the first half. They get the turnover there. Paul Baxter. Baxter throws it over to Gatson. Gatson thought about shooting it, instead kicks it across the floor. Bond fires and knocks it down. That is the 3rd three-pointer Bond has hit this half, and it puts the Bearcats back out in front, 47-46. Huge possession right there. They go to the press, and it immediately results in a turnover, and the Bearcats reclaim the lead as we have 3.5 minutes remaining. Shot on the way, and the Colonels claim the lead right back as number 1, Dontrell Thomas, knocked down the jumper right there. Ball currently in the hands of Paul Baxter. Baxter goes all the way and gets fouled. That's going to go against, should be on number 22, I believe, TJ Carpenter. That is indeed the call. That is Carpenter's 4th. And we have another pause in the action with immediate timeout here. 3:17 remains. The Nicholls State Colonels lead it 48 to Sam Houston State's 47. We've got a great ball game. Will Bond has caught fire here in the second half. Did not score at all in the first half. Has knocked down 3 huge three-pointers, 3 out of 4 from distance. And you got to hope that he can hit a couple more.
Yeah, because I think we're going to definitely need him. And as you were saying, there's only 3:17 left in regulation. Like you said, a good chance that this game could either go into overtime, or I feel like it's definitely going to be down to the team with the last possession that could come away with the W on this one.
Yeah, they talk about that a lot in football where you have two offenses that really seem to click. Whoever has the ball last might be the team that wins it. That's a situation that we might be seeing play out here because it seems like just about every possession they've been trading baskets for the last couple of minutes, which is kind of surprising given the way the first half went. The second half has been much more offense-oriented, and we are just about ready to get back underway. Nicholls State has already made their way back on the floor. And remember, Nicholls State beat the Bearcats in Louisiana, so the Bearcats want to win this one on their home floor and get even on the season against Nicholls State.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see the Bearcats go back to a man-to-man defense. They've kind of switched it up to a 2-3 zone here in this second half. I kind of want to see a man defense. They definitely did better on a man defense containing that Nicholls offense in the first half.
All right, so here we go. Paul Baxter's free throw attempt will be oncoming in just a second. Here's the first. Knocks it down, and we are tied yet again. The second attempt will be to give the Bearcats another lead. It's worth pointing out, the first time these two teams met, there was just one lead change in the entire game. We've seen quite a bit more of that kind of intense play tonight. Second attempt is up, and the Bearcats lead it once again, 49-48.
Finally, some good free throw shooting going on for these Bearcats.
Ball currently in the hands of Lyndon Smith-Hyde, and once again the Bearcats have the press on, but the Colonels were able to get it across midcourt and set up their offense. And it looks like you asked for it, and the Bearcats are back in that man-to-man. Ball currently in the hands of Jeremy Smith. Smith fires it over to Dontrell Thomas. Thomas gives it back to Smith. Smith throws it over to Riley. Riley gives it to Smith-Hyde. Smith-Hyde throws it to Fred Hunter. Hunter got blocked right there. And wow, unfortunate break for the Bearcats as number 1, Darius Gatson, had the ball in his hands but tripped and fell, and the ball rolled out of bounds, and the Colonels get it back.
It looks like big man number 20, Fred Hunter's limping around on that left knee a little bit. Got a little injury after coming down on that from that rebound.
So that'll definitely be a story worth watching. And now he is holding that knee, and they are having a bit of a conversation as there's some physical play going on right now between, wow, that's going to be a foul on the offense yet again. The refs warned him, he kept shoving, and that's going to be a foul every time the ref specifically told him to cut it out. He didn't listen, and so that's going to be the 4th foul of the evening on Dontrell Thomas. And remember, Thomas was the leading scorer the first time these two teams met. He's the leading scorer again tonight. So you know the Bearcats would love to see him foul out.
Yeah, it's a good job of Paul Baxter to stay in his face, make him force that dumb penalty.
So Darius Gatson now has the ball for the Bearcats, who continue to lead it by 1 with just about 2.5 minutes to go. Throws it over to Bond. Bond fires the 3. This one's short, and Fred Hunter gets the rebound but falls out of bounds. Big break for the Bearcats, who are going to get the ball back with a fresh 35-second shot clock.
Yeah, the Bearcats got a little help there from Fred Hunter and Dontrell Thomas as they collided as they came down from the rebound, and Fred Hunter wasn't able to maintain balance and stay in bounds.
And the Bearcats were trying to get a layup on that inbound attempt. It didn't quite work out, so now Darius Gatson will pull it back and try and set up a more traditional offensive set. Here comes this ball screen from Thomas. We've seen that all evening. Ball now goes inside to Thomas. Thomas pass fakes it, now gives it up to Gatson, coming back to set another ball screen. And this time Gatson pulls it out, and they'll try it again. Bearcats being very patient, as well they should. Shot clock with under 10 seconds remaining. And that's going to be a steal right there. And no good on the layup, and Thomas comes away with the rebound. Awesome possession on defense for the Bearcats. That could have easily given up the lead. Instead, we have less than 2 minutes left. The Bearcats have 25 seconds remaining on the shot clock, and they're going to use just about every one of them. Darius Gatson has the ball right now. Looking for a screen. Gets it. Cuts inside. Puts up a bank shot. Doesn't get it. And instead, it's going to be a foul against Wilpon. Bad decision right there, because that's going to send Fred Hunter to the free throw line for 2 attempts.
Or maybe it is a good decision with the way Hunter's been shooting.
The Colonels are in double bonus, but again, Fred Hunter, 3 for 11 from the free throw line tonight. So it'll be interesting to see if he can knock either or both of these down. Bearcats lead it by 1, 49-48, 1:21 remaining. Fred Hunter at the line. First attempt is up and short. The struggles continue. Make it 3 for 12. Number 22, TJ Carpenter, checks back in for the Colonels. Huge free throw attempt right here for Hunter. Bearcat fans getting loud. This is as loud as they've been all night. Second attempt is up. It is good. So with 1:21 remaining, this game is tied. Aaron Harwell is now bringing the ball up the floor for the Bearcats. Bearcats still remaining patient on offense. No need to rush. You're on your home floor. Throws it inside to Thomas. Thomas goes up for the layup. Knocks it down. Bearcats take the lead right at a minute remaining. 51-49, 55 seconds to go. Bearcat fans are getting really loud now. Ball in the hands of Lyndon Smith-Hyde. Smith-Hyde throws it over to Shane Riley. Riley gives it up to Carpenter. Carpenter throws it over to number 1. Wow, what a shot right there by Dontrell Thomas. Thomas knocks down the three-pointer, and the Colonels have reclaimed the lead. So we have a timeout, 42.0 seconds remain. The Colonels 52, Bearcats 51.
Yeah, that was just some good ball movement there by the Colonels on their offensive possession to swing the ball and find the open man. And unfortunately for the Bearcats, it was Dontrell Thomas who's the leading scorer, and he knocks down his three-point attempt to push his point total to 18 on the night.
Yeah, he's far exceeded his season average. Coming into the night, he was averaging around 13 points a game. He's now at 18 for the evening, like you said. But remember, he does have 4 fouls. So, and this definitely looks like a kind of game that could go to overtime. So if that is the case, that is definitely something worth watching. Here we go, Bearcats taking their time before they break their huddle. And we're just about ready to get back underway. Number 32, Will Bond. Remember, Bond has made 3 big threes this half. Will be the one inbounding the ball for the Bearcats. Receiving the pass is Darius Gatson, and we are back underway here in Huntsville, Texas. About a 6-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Bearcats needing to score to reclaim the lead. Ball now in the hands of Paul Baxter. Baxter gives it up to Gatson. Gatson throws it inside to Thomas. Thomas backing down, throws the ball out to Gatson. Gatson cuts it to the paint, throws it out to the corner. Aaron Harwell with the jumper. No good. Colonels get the rebound, and the Bearcats have to foul. So 15.3 seconds remaining. Colonels will be shooting 2 free throws here. Going to the line, I didn't see who got fouled. It looks like it's going to be number 1, Dontrell Thomas. I'm pretty sure that's who the last person the Bearcats want to see at the line. Even worse news, that is Darius Gatson's 4th personal foul. Here comes the first attempt. It is good, and that increases the lead to 2. So now this is the very definition of a big free throw. If he makes this, it's a 3-point game. If he misses it, it's just 2. The attempt is up, and he knocks it down. So Dontrell Thomas has been huge here in the last minute. First, he makes a 3 from the wing to give the Colonels the lead. Then he knocks down 2 free throws to make it a 3-point game. So let me ask you this. 15.3 seconds left, trailing by 3. If you're the Bearcats, do you try and shoot the 3 and tie it, or do you try and go for the quick 2 and foul?
I'd have to say I'd hold it for the last possession and shoot the 3, and definitely I'd have Will Bond shoot the 3 because he's been on fire from behind the arc. Definitely, I think they should work some kind of offensive play around him to get him behind the arc for the shot. You take a chance, and if you get that, if you do work it, try and get that 2-point, make that 2-pointer and then foul the guy. If you just unfortunately don't know, because I'm sure they'd obviously try and get the ball into Dontrell Thomas. You have to foul him. He's making his free throw tonight, so.
Big call from Coach Cooten right here. It'll be interesting to see what the Bearcats have in mind. Inbounding the ball is going to be Will Bond. He'll be throwing it into Aaron Harwell. Shane Riley hanging out in the back court for the Colonels. Here we go, 14, 13, 12. They're looking for the 2. Harwell takes it. No, he throws it outside. Will Bond has the ball. Wow. Thomas lays it in, but that took way too long. 10.2 seconds ran off right there. So the Bearcats do cut the lead to 1, but now there's just 5.1 seconds remaining. So now, unless you can force a turnover on the inbounds pass, you're going to have a heave and a prayer on the other end.
Yeah, that's not. Play definitely took way too long to develop. I'm not sure if that's what Coach drew up or if his players just didn't run it right. When Harwell took it down there first and he drove into the paint, I was expecting him to go ahead and try and lay it up there, but he passed it back out. It might have been actually that they were trying to pass it back out to Will Bond because they did get it to him. He was behind the arc, but unfortunately there was a defender there, so he didn't put up the shot. Ended up getting it to Thomas. Thomas did lay it up and make it. Now we're stuck here with only 5 seconds left.
All right, so let me reset the table for you. 5.1 seconds remaining. Bearcats trailing by 1 point. They'll either be looking to steal the inbounds pass or commit a foul immediately. Inbounding the ball is number 1, and they have wow, excellent play call right there. And, wow, I got to tell you, I was watching the score clock right there, and the Bearcats did not get any help from the clock operator as the foul was called with about 2.5 seconds left, but instead the clock ran down to 1.8. So even though we're in Huntsville, the Bearcats do not get the proper clock treatment right there.
And, well, there's a bigger issue going on right now, and the refs are actually taking a look at it because when the Nicholls State threw the ball in the first time and they threw it into the first player, he was out of bounds. He was literally standing on the Bearcat E on the baseline when he caught the ball.
Well, that depends on sometimes that is legal. I'm not quite sure if that was a stationary, although coming out of a timeout, I believe it is stationary. If it's an active play, you can do that, but I believe the rule is coming out of a timeout, it's stationary, but I don't think that's going to be the call. They are setting up for a free throw attempt right here. So they do get the clock fixed correctly, though. 2.9 seconds remaining. The free throw attempts will be coming from number 1, that is Dontrell Thomas. Thomas has 20 points this evening. So at least, if nothing else, they got the clock fixed. So that's huge for the Bearcats because now you can take about 2 dribbles before you have to heave it. You're still not going to be able to get the ball anywhere near half court, most likely, unless there's a long bounce. And if there's a long bounce, the game's probably over anyway. So here comes the first attempt. 2 attempts coming as they are in double bonus. Knocks down the first one, and so now this will determine whether the Bearcats are trying to win it or tie it at the end. 55-53, 2.9 seconds to go. Dontrell Thomas shooting a second attempt, knocks it down, so the Bearcats need a 3 to tie. And they have 1 timeout left. I guess they're not going to call it, though. Here comes inbound pass. Got to throw it up. Shot is up. Nowhere near the basket. And the Bearcats lose it. 56-53. Just a disappointing end to that ball game right there.
Yeah, definitely disappointing. You don't like to see that happen after the Bearcats had the lead different times, multiple times. They got on fire, got the crowd into it. Definitely disappointing to come in, to have the Colonels come in here and defeat you on your home court.
More importantly, though, this loss, that makes the Bearcats 7-8 in Southland Conference play. On the flip side, it also makes the Colonels 7-8 in Southland Conference play. And since the Colonels won both games head-to-head, that's going to knock the Bearcats back to 6th. Remember, we talked about this earlier. The Bearcats are trying to reach the number 4 spot in the standings to get a bye in the Southland Conference tournament. They've already clinched the berth as the top 8 teams get to play in that tournament, but the top 4 teams get a first-round bye. And so that's what the Bearcats were gunning for. And now if they want to get that, they're probably going to have to win out.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to have to win out and probably still have some help from other teams losing. So, like you said, definitely disappointing loss. Hopefully they can bounce back after this, though. You can see some of the Bearcats kind of holding their heads down. They need to try and pick their heads up and just kind of get back into a groove and hopefully come out and win out late in this season.
All right, so with 3 games remaining in the season, the Bearcats fall to 7-8 in conference play. Bearcats lose it tonight, 56-53 to the visiting Nicholls State Colonels. So for Bryce Leisure, I'm Trent Scott saying mahalo. This is Huntsville's Bearcat Sports.
On Saturday, March 2nd, directly following the women's basketball game, which starts at 1:30 p.m.